The Opinion Line on Cork's 96 FM.
Omicron now constitutes 96% of all cases in the country, which has meant a change in the rules for travel. Difficult to understand, and is it in place yet? It was supposed to come in place at midnight. Eoghan Corry, travel journalist, joins me. Eoghan, good morning and Happy New Year to you, sir.
Good morning, PJ, and Happy New Year to all the listeners, yes.
What is the Taoiseach saying? So when Omicron broke in November, we had instant application of PCR and or antigen to come in, even if you were vaccinated. That gone now?
Absolutely. It was it was something that was quite controversial because we were a club. No, we weren't alone in doing it. We were a club of two countries that did that for travel within the European Union. Remember, this is travel within the European Union. Lots of countries introduced it for travel arrivals from outside the EU. We were one of two. Portugal was the other to decide to do it for travel within the European Union. Other countries didn't follow. So getting rid of it makes complete sense.
Yeah. What are the situation now? I mean, if you're fully vaccinated, you come and go as you please. Is that it?
That's pretty much it. That's very important that you're fully vaccinated. And remember, your vaccination history is on that QR code that's on your the phone, the European Digital Certificate. The real big change yesterday on that is that the booster information will also be added to that. That's fairly important because we've another deadline on its way, February the 1st. European Union countries have pretty much agreed at central level in Brussels that there is a sell-by date on the second vaccination, and that is 9 months. Most Irish people got vaccinated June, July for their second vaccination. Some of the healthcare workers a little bit earlier. That means we'd all be running out in March. On yesterday, it was clear from some experience that people were having that the booster information was not in our QR code, but that is going to be added as of this week and will all be added to all our digital certificates by January 15. Very important. The QR code doesn't need to be updated. It's just the information. The same QR code stays in place on our phone, and the information will now tell us that we've got the booster as well as the full course of vaccination.
And will we get a new QR? What's going to happen? Like, will I get an email with a new QR? Right.
Same QR. I'm not sure you'll get even an email. And there is a question that has arisen already with quite a few viewers on Ireland AM and listeners, and that how do we know? Now, there is a facility for updating your information on the QR code. That's very important for people whose names on the digital certificate are not the same as those on their passport. Things like Margaret turning up as Peggy, things like that are maiden names. But it's not clear how you will check that the booster information has been added before you get to an airport gate or into an attraction, because France will be introducing this from January 17. Lift pass, they'll lift at ski resorts, they'll start looking for it, and big attractions like Disneyland Paris will look for evidence of a booster. So all of that is going to be on your QR code. Not sure. The one question I cannot answer is how you'll be able to check. But the QR code won't check. It won't change. That's the beauty of this. Yeah. It's like a QR code leading to a website. The website can be updated. The QR code stays in place.
Yeah, because if you open your COVID tracker app now, and it offers you the opportunity to open your COVID search, and I do mine there, and you can look for your detail and all of that. Now, so far, I'm listed as having 2 doses. I've had my booster, obviously. So that's your understanding, on it'll be silently updated. I'll know nothing about it.
Absolutely. It's just a matter of plugging the database into the digital COVID cert database. Now, there was, earlier this week, a lot of concern because there was a bit of shrug-shouldering going on. We're not going to do that. We've more important things. But that seems to have changed yesterday because we're told that the process of updating it will start this week and will be complete by January 15. That gives us 2 weeks before it becomes necessary for travel, a requisite for travel on February the 1st. Right. And we're talking within the European Union. And remember, countries, even Switzerland, requires PCR tests from Ireland. That's the thing that throws people, because a lot of people fly into Geneva to get to ski resorts in France. So we're only talking about travel within the European Union. Also very important, PJ, this isn't the licence for people who suffer from symptoms or from COVID to go travelling because the test has been removed. Remember, everybody who checks in for Aer Lingus or Ryanair or any other airline, they get a long list of questions. They're a bit of a nuisance. You go no to all of that. But they do ask you if you're suffering from symptoms or carrying COVID. And if you say no when you actually are, that actually is a breach of aviation law, and you're in danger of infecting other people. So it's not a licence for people who have COVID to travel. It's just their test is removed, and if you have COVID, you're not flying.
Okay. Oh, and just on a lighter and brighter note,
we need one of those.
We do, don't we? I mean, I may tell you now, I have my flights booked and I have my accommodation booked, and God help me, I'm already praying that I'll be going on my holidays in July. What are our genuine chances?
Everything should work for the summer. I'd be very optimistic of the summer. We have a very ambitious schedule of air flights in place. Most of the 2019 programme is there. Most of the destinations, new ones are popping up all the time. Aer Lingus put 5 in there just last week, quietly into the system. Some of the seasons are a little bit shorter than they would have been in 2019, but we have a good, ambitious schedule, and we've also got good prices because there's been a bit of hesitancy, and airlines will keep the prices low till the a substantial amount of the seats on the flight are booked.
Well, I managed to book for the same price as my last holiday in 2019, so I'm perfectly happy with that. In terms of restrictions, though, do you see that infamous, the Department of Foreign Affairs would advise against non-essential? Do you see that coming back?
No, I'd be very optimistic. The reason is that Omicron tested the nerve of European countries. As I said, Portugal and Ireland, and Portugal were different circumstances because Antonio Costa has a general election coming up. But they were the only two that introduced testing within the European Union. So the principle, and this is a very important principle that was introduced last July, that instead of looking at where you jumped on the flight, that people will be evaluated on their vaccination status. That principle, which was introduced last July, it was tested by Omicron in December, and it survived the test. So I'd be very optimistic that no matter what COVID brings, and COVID is very good at throwing up a surprise every couple of months, that the principle of travel within the European Union, unrestricted, is going to still be there this summer. And I think there's a general realisation in Brussels. It's been slower among some of the national governments, including our own, but there's a general realisation in Brussels that we need a coherent policy as one, as the European 27 nations on travel that is a bit more robust than what we saw crumble in 2020.
And lastly, what might be useful, Eoghan, as you plan to travel and as you get closer to your travelling time, be it in March or May or June or whenever you want to go, is there a reliable app, particularly across the EU, that tells me my restrictions? For example, that I need to bring a mask and I'll be expected to wear it on the bus, but I don't have to wear it, etc. Is there a reliable app for those kind of things?
Very, very simple, Reopen EU. And it's the one that's run for the European Union. And it'll be a little bit of a prisoner of how quickly it's updated, but it's certainly been up to the task so far, and it's very good at following what the restrictions are. Now remember, when you go long haul, including the United States, it can be a little bit messier. Thailand decided to allow in vaccinated tourists from all over the world in November. I was at the announcement with the Thai Minister for Tourism, and they've decided this week to withdraw that for everywhere except Phuket. So that sort of arbitrary stuff that can happen isn't going to happen in the European Union, and that app will keep you well up to date. It's a little bit troublesome for England in that they are no longer in the European Union, and we've seen some very arbitrary overnight decisions made, and politicians seem to be...
Well, you also have different rules in England, Scotland and Wales, which doesn't help.
Yeah, it's not a big deal for us because the common travel area won't affect travel from Ireland. But we have quite a lot of people living in Ireland who have Indian, Pakistani passports. So that's something I wouldn't give a guarantee that there wouldn't be an arbitrary decision very quickly. I'd be very confident that the European Union will have the robust system that was put in place last July. It survived Omicron. I'm pretty sure it'll survive the next shock that COVID is going to bring down the ranks for us.
Okay, Eoghan, but I think the very important message here is if you want to go on your holidays this summer and you want to go into the sunshine, get your booster.
Absolutely be boosted. Absolutely have your certificate up to date. And also, keep an eye on the sale fares at the moment, because the airlines are really testing what the confidence is. They can make decisions on routes once they see booking patterns. And both Aer Lingus and Ryanair tend to just, kick it out to the end of the month, January 31st, February 28th, whatever, and then extend it. But both of them have very good cancellation policies. And it means that you can book now and just if anything goes wrong, just keep ticking your departure date down the road a little bit.
All right, listen, Eoghan, great to talk to you again for the first time in 2022. I know you're a man in demand these days, so I'll let you go. That's Eoghan Corry, travel journalist from Air and Travel magazine. If you fancy a summer holiday in the sun, get that booster.
Cork's 96 FM.